Welcome back to another uncomfortable opinion. If you like the content, please follow me on YouTube and Instagram at The Uncomfortable Opinion. Gonna jump into this one. Whew. It's gonna go into the part of the problem that we have with society, and a lot of it has to do with parenting and the agendas that people are falling into to not parent anymore and to allow the agendas to raise their children. What I mean by this is, had my own little fun family outing today. We do that every so often, probably. And when we're out, I was noticing all these young boys with all this hyper feminized looks that they had, all sorts of extra long hair, colored hair, kind of like feminized dressing up, and it's just becoming more and more prevalent. And I'm just kind of scratching my head and like why are we letting this happen? And what it boils down to is, first off, I know y'all parents are busy, real busy. You got work, you got jobs, after school activities and things, and then your children have to go to public school because either the state you're in or the circumstances that you're in, and so they get all the agendas shoved down their throats. And then when you get home, you got to try to worry about dinner, and then they kind of get parked in front of TV or video games or doing their own thing, kind of left to their own devices. So essentially we have a generation of people now not only being left to their own devices, but their own devices are just being thrown up with each agenda. Rather it's alphabet agency this, or if you don't do this, you're not cool type stuff. And it's gotten way worse because our school systems are endorsing it on top of all of our social medias and entertainment outlets. And it's just really showing now that the father figure has almost been totally destroyed in America. It really has. You have a handful of fathers that are still out there, and, you know, hats off to you, gentlemen. It ain't an easy job, but we're getting her done. But then you have this other side of it, of where you have single parenthoods, and that a lot was done by design, or I don't need no man movement, the whole feminized movement. And then you have all these females that try to make their young men look like ladies with the prolonged long hair as a child and things like that. It's not healthy, and it's not helping them. It's like every male needs a strong male role model or male figure in their life. Granted, that's becoming more and more difficult because as a society and as a country, it's all gotten soft. It's all gotten, you know, and it's really disappointing because we're not going to have anything to stand on. This is reminding me, if you've ever read about Rome or any other society like that, what happens before they fall? They fall into decadence. You have a overabundance of sodomy that's being pushed. You have all this other cross-dressing ideas and things, and that is actually a part of it. And people can argue, oh, that's not a part of it, doesn't mean anything. Yes, it does, because believe it or not, we function very similar to computers. Garbage in, garbage out. And if you're pumping your head with all these identity politics, you're never gonna create anything worthwhile. You're never gonna do anything worthwhile, but instead you're gonna grandstand on who you think you should be instead of things that you are going to be remembered for doing. You're trying to say what your sexual interest is more important than what you can actually bring to the table. And that is the biggest problem. And then this whole and this goes with the hyper feminizing of our males, and it's happened, and it's been gradual. It's gradual to where men don't stand up anymore. Men don't speak for what's right. We've got a whole loss of integrity, where you have not only will men not speak up for what's right, they kowtow to females to try to get with females. What female wants a weak man? And that doesn't mean you have to be mean or anything. Just be firm, stand for something, have backbone. You know, there's so many cases that are in the news that are just disheartening of the pushing for the hormonal treatments of young men to be like little girls. All of Hollywood is turning their children into little girls, it looks like, except for the handful that do. And hats off to Pastor Troy standing up to this whole alphabet nonsense. Tell it how it is. I mean, this is an agenda, and the more this agenda is pushed, the more that people think that it's acceptable, and that it's not so much, it's like, if you're a grown adult, you're gonna do what you're gonna do. But this needs to stop being pushed down the children's throat, and we need to do better as parents. We need to say, you know what? This is what it is. You don't act that way because you weren't born that way. And that argument of I'm born this way is absolute garbage. It's garbage. Because everybody has choices to make throughout their life. And one of the choices in a young person's life refers to their parents on how they're choosing to raise them. And if you're choosing to raise them in some sort of perversion to go along with the virtue signaling and just being non-conforming type thing, that's not being non-conforming. You're breaking young males from becoming men. And we claim this whole toxic masculinity thing, and it's not masculinity that's toxic. I mean, we send children to school to be taught by predominantly females, right? So many single mother households, and then we're gonna sit and turn around and say it's the male's fault because of this? No, it's an absence of strong males which cause these situations. And this doesn't mean every male's great, but you know, if you start with them young and teach them right from wrong, teach them how to treat other people, be decent with respect, you're gonna go quite a ways. But instead, that's not happening. We're teaching males that it's okay to pretend that they're females and stay in this state of pretend. And yet, if you say anything about it, oh, you're being offensive to them, or you're making fun of them. But yet nobody flips that coin and looks at it as like, isn't a male dressing up like a female being offensive to females? And what makes women women? You know, this whole men and women are equal is nonsense. And the prime thing that should teach everybody this is the whole transgender movement. Because if men and women were equal, then there would be just as many women going to men's sports and absolutely dominating. Where are they at? Where are they at crushing skulls? Where are they out crushing records? Where are they at? They're not there because they don't exist. Now, does this mean that women can't lead? No. They can lead, but the majority of them are not fit for leading. And that doesn't mean and that's saying that there's a bell curve of women, that women are mainly geared towards nurturing. They're geared towards the family. They're geared towards things of that nature, but instead we're trying to push them in competitions with men when they really don't mesh in the areas. And they want to claim this pay gap thing. Well, they're not going and doing the jobs that pay more, but yet want to claim that they're being paid less. But they're not even in the same field. They're not taking the engineering jobs. They're not taking these high labor-intense jobs. And this is all just common knowledge, but at the same time, why are we failing as a society to help teach our young people that it's good to be a woman, and the most important role in a family is somebody who stays at home with their family to teach and raise their family the important things? Why is that not being thrown up as the ideal femininity? That's amazing. Women can bring life into this world. They nurture that life. But yet that's looked at through feminism, or as the feminists call it, as slavery. But look what we're getting now. We're getting a collapse of society where people like this old Jonah Hill character is saying the real change in movie industry will come when women and minorities run the things. You know how actual situations like that work is that it's whoever's best for the job would run the situation, but not in Hollywood, because Hollywood's all family organizations. But that's besides the point. But it should always be who is best for the job, who can best motivate the people, who can best get out there and lead the people, not sit behind a desk and tell them what to do. get out there and lead. And these are things that we're all stepping away from so we can play these politically correct games. I ain't politically correct at all. I do not care. Like, I try to be respectful, and if you disagree, that's fine. Look, here's a high five. Bam, you don't agree with me, you get a high five. But if you agree with me, bam, here's you a high five. But the fact is, this is something we need to talk about. We need to change as parents. We need to change as Americans. We need to stop letting our young men go this hyper feminine route, because that's only going to be to their detriment later in life. You know, we need to stop these school boards from forcing these agendas down their throat. These are all things that need to stop. So, anyways, that's my 2 cents on this topic. Hope you had a good day. Just remember, we got to work hard to be better than what we were yesterday. And these are some of the things that's been letting lie too long, and it's been festering in our civilization. And we can look around and see all the marches and things and stuff like that that shows that it's festering. And we need to be better as people. We need to be stronger as people, not just strong men, but strong women, and strong with good moral values, instead of this collapse in society that we're having from a social level. Because I mean, it's showing through our architecture, showing through our work, it's showing through everything that all these agendas are really hurting people, because it's garbage in, garbage out, and that's what's happening. And it's really sad. It truly is. But again, let's keep working hard together to be better than what we were the day before. Let's fight this in the best way we can, and the best way we can is changing ourselves, looking ourselves in the mirror, and see what we can do better. That's what it boils down to. Well, anyways, peace. Hope you have a good one.